is where snaggle, really, I don't like snaggle.
You got 2 hours, so take your time.
Yeah, exactly. Might take me 2 hours if I just can't put my grip on it there.
Can I have a different one?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's the one Bob likes to look at for
I
the
don't like it.
lumpus. You don't like it?
No.
Well, that's fine. I have many more to choose from.
Not that one.
Not that one. Man.
Oh,
There.
beautiful.
The everything shot.
Thank you.
All winch all the time.
For all your winching needs.
Cheat sheet.
Oh, it's just for my personal samples.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we should probably adjust the ISE arm as well, just a little bit.
Sure.
Just so it's not trying to get it so it's not below the bumper bar there.
Sure, yeah. Or pourquoi? I shall.
Shall.
Raj. Can I? Can I do both? Can I winch and? Yes, I can.
Sure you
Sorry,
can.
I'm just seeing what my payout, my speed is. I'm just trying to turn my eyes into iguanas.
I can do it if you want.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah, team, so I was helping Kevin cut some of the rocks earlier that we caught on the previous dive. They were okay. Some of the larger ones actually had some, about a centimeter or two.
Of the manganese that you're looking for?
I would go
And then there was some
elbow
weathered
up
part of
and
the
then
rock,
wrist.
but then there were
Right
on
at
some of them
it.
there
So
were
it's
some
like more
places that
here.
looked like there were some nice minerals
You know what I
there.
mean?
Some
Cool.
white little specks look like plagioclase, which is
And
one
then
of the
wrist
things we want to
to the
use
right.
for the dating.
Oh, okay.
So he made some, cut some pieces so we
Little
can
more.
make some,
Little more, yeah.
petrographic slides
So
to
it
look at
kinda
things
comes
under the
up.
microscope.
Cool. Yeah, they looked like there was an interesting rock I noticed they were collecting earlier. The shape of it was interesting.
That's
It was
probably good.
flat,
Yeah.
and it had like little ripply grooves in it. And so I was wondering, how you were
Okay.
going to cut it to
Raj.
see, and what if that shape, if that shape would give you any more information about the rock
No, it was
compared to like the angular ones you were
well, I think
looking
it was actually almost like a couple of flows in one.
Okay.
But that didn't really have a lot of good minerals in it that are usable.
Oh, will you try to slice it open to see, or
Yeah, we
did
sliced them
you
all
did
open,
open?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought it was on this one.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Well, I mean, there was a one that was like the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That we looked at, that we cut.
oh,
So we'll see what this one.
oh.
looks
Okay,
like
yeah,
too.
because it seems like you guys have a lot of good samples that are going to be coming up.
In all the things we scooped up that I thought were nodules, aren't nodules.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So.
So were they? Oh, Brandon was telling me.
Well, they're just pieces of basalt with, manganese rind on it.
Oh, rind.
Well, the manganese coating.
Got it. Okay,
Right.
okay. I think Brandon was telling me about the certain type of rock that's made up of other rocks.
Conglomerates.
Conglomerate. Yeah, he was explaining something to me, and I don't know if it related to what we were collecting, but I don't know how we got on the subject, but I think it was with that one flat rock that we were seeing.
Well, there are also breccias too.
There's
like breccias.
Okay.
It's more like an angular rock. You get those flow breccias around these sorts of areas too.
Oh, okay. Tyler, do you know if anybody got pictures of that sea cucumber that looked different than the other species that we kept seeing at the deeper depths? It had those spines, or what did you call them, Liz? I want to say tentacles, but it's not tentacles.
I think I called them like spikes. They're not really spikes. They're like protrusions. I don't know.
So lots of blue water time. Here. Huh?
Did you see the album cover
Where?
picture of us when we first had that little weird wrap and then we were trying to figure out what to do?
What was that? Sorry.
Oh. Oh, yeah, we are heading up already.
That's that one.
Oh, okay. So Rob, I'm going to go ahead and,
That's a great band name. I love that band name.
for the pilots.
Yeah. Front row. Front row.
Okay. So Aloha Front Row, we've got a question for you whenever you're ready. I've seen you drop mostly square plates in the past. Why the round stock now? To lessen the impact?
Nope.
They were a
Okay.
gift.
Okay.
It's what we have on hand.
What's a square plate?
We have these plates that we tend to use for ballast. We call them Alvin plates just because they've been typically used by submarine Alvin.
Okay.
But they're kind of used by a bunch of different groups just to kind of help adjust ballast when you need to. So we have some of those, but they're expensive and they're hard to get, especially in Hawaii. And we had another group out with us from Hui recently on our tech demo cruise, and they had these little cylindrical drop weights, which are a little lighter. And he didn't want to. He had some left over, and he didn't want to take them back because obviously they're heavy. So he left them on the ship. So I'm using those instead
Okay.
to save us burning up our precious Alvin weights.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
I do have another question for the front row.
Sure.
So how much is the weight of those cylinder ballast?
One.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, each one of those cylinders, I think, is 11 pounds in air, about 9 pounds in water.
Okay. Is it the same as the plate we usually use?
Now the plates are about 20 pounds in air and about 16 and a half pounds in water.
And is there any reason why we use it instead of the usual plates? Does that kind of go back to what you just...
Yeah, same answer.
Okay.
Just just because they were given to us. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. That's it for now.
Okay. Yeah.
Looks
Fire away
like-
anytime.
Okay.
I have a question for the scientists, if that's okay.
Yeah,
I was
yes.
wondering, is there less oxygen levels that far deep down? And like, if there are, how do the species use enough oxygen?
So most parts, or a lot of parts of the ocean, including here, have something called an oxygen minimum zone, but it's actually usually in mid-waters, often centered around like 500 to 1,000 meters. This one's, it's centered around 500, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's due to kind of a lot of different factors, including places where there's stratification as well as relatively high production at the surface. So there'll be a decrease in oxygen mid-water, and it can actually even go down to essentially no oxygen. But there are animals, interestingly, that live there at least part-time or in some cases full-time, and they just have special adaptations to not require much oxygen. Sometimes they'll hang out there during the day and then migrate out of it at night in order to feed where there is more oxygen.
That's
But,
cool.
yeah.
Thanks.
I'm gonna fix that.
You know a little more about the OMZ going on here. You were looking at the profiles, Rob.
No, it just it looked like it hit a minimum at about 400 and stayed, pretty consistently low. It came up a little bit as you went deeper, but not appreciably. And I talked to Steve about that, how that impacts the corals, and he said, most of them can survive pretty low oxygen, so they don't need to swim in and out, especially if there's potentially a seasonal variability in some of these too. So I was just wondering if some of the dead sponges we saw might be
Oh,
a
that's cool.
factor of that, but he didn't think that.
Yeah,
I'm all stopped.
historically, actually, people believed that the deep ocean was completely devoid of oxygen, and therefore that there wouldn't be any life down there. And so they were pretty surprised when they did their first deep dredges and turned up a bunch of life. Yeah, it turns out the deepest parts of the ocean are actually generally very well oxygenated due to ocean circulation.
Interesting. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Okay.
Okay, we do have someone from Germany that's joined us.
Wow.
Yeah, aloha Germany. I just started watching the stream some minutes ago and saw you dropping some stuff off the top of the rover. I would be curious to know what happened. All the best from Germany.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to what we were just talking about there. So their ballast weights, they help us come up a little faster.
Oh, okay.
They just help us lose a bit of weight. Basically, once we're full of all those rocks and samples, that's taking on a lot of weight, especially the rocks. And so we need to exchange that weight.
I see.
And so in order to do that, we exchange basically some steel ballast for all those rocks so we can bring them up to the surface.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hoku, there's also a comment in the from the messages too, someone talking about having, saying that the oxygen is actually higher down in the cold water. And that's what was kind of interesting about this area, because the Hercules has a DO meter on it. And we were monitoring it, and we were kind of surprised that the profile has,
Right.
high oxygen to the surface, then below the picnic line around 400 meters. It's at its lowest, and it stays, kind of low. It raises a little bit, and that was kind of surprising for this region.
Right, were we looking at that earlier, right?
Yeah,
Where it was
exactly.
kind of, you're noticing those patterns.
But, I mean, in the Atlantic and Indian Ocean, you actually have deep Antarctic bottom water, which is rich in oxygen, that comes down and then it backs into the region.
Okay.
And so in the Atlantic, yeah, because of AMOC, or the meridional overturn circulation,
Got it.
you do have higher oxygen deeper.
Interesting.
And in the Indian Ocean, the same too. In the Pacific, since you're kind of at the end of the conveyor system, and there's not as much deep water from the north, and you're at the farther away from the Antarctic,
Okay.
that it may not be as oxygen rich.
I
So
see.
that may be, that's my working idea. I was kind of surprised because I was always expecting the oxygen to be a little higher when you got down a little deeper below the oxygen minimum.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, because that was one thing I was interested in looking at too, the O2. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay. Does this have something to do with it too? With the oxygen relate with the temperature? No, yeah. Or is it? I don't know what they're.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I do think that you do have higher ability to hold oxygen in colder water. So
Oh,
there is a temperature effect of being
right.
able to, but if you,
That's what I'd be doing.
even though it can hold it, if it's not been oxygenated recently,
Then
yeah.
it's still not abundant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see another cool shrimp again.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So in the chat here, somebody is telling us to have a great weekend and thanks for taking us to places we would have never seen without you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, guys.
So sweet.
Thank you very much.
Happy
What's
Friday.
a weekend?
It's Friday?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so
What are you
Yeah.
guys doing this
yeah, what do you
weekend?
guys do planned?
I'll be here.
Some deep sea exploration. What about you?
I'm gonna be boating and eating.
You're gonna eat?
Yeah.
Lucky.
Again.
Are you not?
I'm gonna try and
Wait.
play chess. I might eat a little bit. Nah.
Yeah. Have some more of those chocolate croissants. They're kind of addictive.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I love them. I love them. Did anyone get that banana bread?
Yes.
I did.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
needed milk.
Didn't I tell you we're gonna see banana bread? Did you find that picture yet?
I'm looking for it. I can't find it.
Jeez Louise.
I can't find it.
Good thing there's nothing going
You
wrong
guys
up
are going to
here.
look like one of the...
What are we doing?
I
Oh, you're on it.
So our most recent comment said the highest O2 level over the whole dive was 100 micromoles per liter and at a concentration of 23%.
For a non-scientist in the front row, what does that mean?
Right?
Is that a lot or a little?
It's relatively low.
Gotcha.
Although as we're going up, it looks like our oxygen is dropping.
Interesting.
Is that what you were talking about, how there's like a mid-range zone where there's not a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, we're currently at... sorry, I'm trying to
There's
find
a little
the...
Yeah, there's a lot of grass there.
Well, yeah. Saying we're at about 15% oxygen saturation, but I'm not exactly sure how that's calculated. Looks like we've got a big siphonophore or something in the camera right
Where?
now, that big long kind of string.
Has anyone seen white tips on any of the two dives so far?
I don't
No.
think so.
Not on this trip.
Up on
I
us?
saw some from the ship, not this trip, but before, when we were, I don't remember where we were.
Last trip.
Saw some what?
White tip,
Sharks.
Oh,
oceanic
cool.
white tips.
And then we saw a whale shark on the last trip too.
That sounds amazing.
That I
With
didn't get to
some
Wow.
zebra fish associates.
Is that
Wow.
Kingman Palmyra?
No, at Papahanaumokuakea. Oh, maybe you know what? I was on both, so maybe it's a mush. I don't remember which one it was.
It's a mush.
It's a mush. And that ties into this question. Now, the real question is, what is the bet on there being sharks at recovery?
No gambling here.
No gambling.
You're muted. Sorry.
Maybe that's the name of our watch.
I'm just going to reach over and
You're muted.
You're muted. Yeah.
Honestly, that's the entire 2 years of COVID summed up into
Yeah.
one phrase.
I think we
That
learned.
is so true.
And we're screaming up 22.
Yeah, you're going fast.
Motoring.
I'm just trying to keep
Oh,
up.
wow. I think John has told me like 4 or 5 times that I've been muted when I'm trying to talk to him.
I think the winch hold image is like past winch. And I think this winch alt is
Yeah.
current winch.
That's winch now. Yeah.
Winch present.
Winch present, winch past.
So, yeah,
I'm winch future.
that's,
Well, yeah, that's winch future. That's winch.
Why do you look at the past winch?
I don't know.
We don't need to
Because
look
I
at the
couldn't
past
figure
winch.
out
We
what
need to
the
look
name
at
of the
winch
screen
now.
was.
We don't want future winch.
That's why I put it here. But I like having both because it's like I can see the line better right now in winch alt versus right now in winch hold. So it makes they're shifted a little, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a bit of an issue there, I can see.
it's the
Yeah, we're
delay
gonna have an
because
issue, yeah, for sure.
all the winch cameras except for this one
You see
are,
it like over there?
Right
Are-
there.
Yeah, that's where I'll stop. That'd
The
be
second bit is not awesome.
the lumpus.
so they're all IP cameras and they have a little bit more latency.
Yeah.
How many waypoints were on this dive?
12.
Oh,
But we only got to almost 11.
oh, nice.
Minus 2.
minus 4 and 6.
Minus 4.
Yeah, we did almost 11 minus 2 waypoints.
We skipped a few.
Only a navigator will
So
understand.
I have a question for the biologist or the scientists here. Is there any known hybridized deep sea animals, especially those that reproduce sexually?
I don't know of any off the top of my head, but
Right.
there could be.
No?
In general, we know very little about the reproduction of a lot of deep sea animals, but it's possible. Sorry, that's not a
No,
it's
no,
a
yeah. I
big
think
question
sometimes
mark.
it's, yeah, if we don't know, yeah. There's potential, I would put.
Which ones would you like to see crossed?
I wonder if you could do something like, you know how with citrus trees you can graft like 3 different types of fruit onto the same tree. You could do that with like a coral.
Yeah.
Just have like a multicolored coral.
Mm.
I don't know. Coral biologists are probably cringing at me saying
Right.
that.
Yes. But haven't they done that? Has it been done?
Not that I know
I don't
of.
know. We have to ask HIMB. Don't they have a coral
Is that a 0?
study going on at HIMB out on the
050?
island? In Hawaii, there's this island. I think they do a
Oh,
lot of
G?
studies.
No, it's okay.
So as we're ascending, this kind of can go out to any of you, but what was one of the neatest things that we saw on this dive this time that captured your eyes? So what was one of the favorite things that you saw during the dive? So that's open to anyone.
It wasn't on our watch, but I was in the lounge watching the previous watch,
Yeah.
and they had found a coral garden, is what I would say. And they had lots and lots of bamboos that were really big. One of them was like as big as Herc,
Wow.
as tall as Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Wow, beautiful. I can't wait to see the pictures.
This also wasn't during our dive, but I was watching. They got a really cool urchin that was collected.
Was it that one that looked like a little, it had really long spines that were kind of hanging out and it was really looked like, or was that on our
Was
dive?
it this one?
No,
Oh,
it was another one.
this is the one that they collected.
Oh,
It's
cool. That's pretty.
Tromacosoma hispidum, possibly.
Neat.
But it was cool. You could see it trying to move away, but they don't move very fast.
No, no.
Video. Can I have winch alt on Mon 1?
Yvonne, what was the coolest thing you saw on this dive?
Just happened to be about 40 minutes ago. It was that purple coral. That
Yeah, I agree. I like the Victor Gorge. I thought
The
that was
Victor
nice.
Gorge, right?
Thank you.
was something else.
I really like seeing how the sea stars wrap around all of the corals and all of the different organisms that tend to gather around the corals.
Does that hurt the corals at all? Or is it benign?
So, Liz, we have some responses to this hybridized coral species.
I thought we might.
So yes, there are hybridized coral species, but we don't know enough about most things to say concisely. And then actually you definitely can graft corals for sure. That's how they rebuild coral reefs in the tropics. And they have bred a hybrid species to better cope with climate change. And I was wondering if that's what they're doing at HIMB on the island. Out in the Moku. There's a coral growth station out there that we saw.
Yeah. Well, thank you for whoever
cleaning up.
commented that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Say anything less than 10 and we're good.
So are there any animals you don't want to see hybridized?
Once you go through the middle, you can speed up to whatever you want.
Besides me.
Right? Once you get over there and back, then when you go through the middle section, you can go
I don't know.
30 if you want.
Nothing comes to mind.
40. No,
Speedy.
Maybe a holothurian shark or something, or
That'd be sick. I think that'd be awesome.
Front row, what were some cool things that you folks saw on this dive that caught your eye?
You know, I've never seen a sediment fall out of a tube core so fast.
You know,
That was a bummer. I don't. It is, but I don't. Didn't mean it like that. I just mean like it tells you a lot about the sediment, and it makes you think about the ways that you could overcome such a challenge. You see that? A little snap down in the rod.
That's good. Snappy down's good.
right, because you, Kylie, you're good at making those observations of, you said earlier, you like it when things break so you can kind of figure out how to fix them.
Yeah, how to overcome such a challenge. Like, because it might be a scientist's whole thing is like loose sand, like just super silty stuff. And so like, how do you accommodate those, they're getting their objectives met, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about, I guess it was yesterday, what you would add to Herc. I guess something to take sediment cores and sand.
Right, where we can like some little cap that can close it, like the Niskins or something, right? So
Yeah, that's totally doable thing.
another comment just came in. It says, ask Kylie about how fast urchins can move. I think she was on the Palmyra dive where we saw the super speedy urchin that was just booking it down a sandy slope.
I don't think that was my watch, or else I feel like because I was on 12 to 4, so I think it's fair to say that sometimes you don't remember what happens on the midnight to 4 a.m. watch. So just kind of a fever dream.
Callie, you have so many fans.
You do have so many
I've been out
fans.
more this season than I ever have, so I feel like if they've been watching this year, then they're just like, oh, she's back again.
Yeah.
Making those jokes.
How many cruises did you do this year, Kylie? I want some watermelon.
Oh, sorry, what'd you say, Hoku?
How many cruises did you do this year, or expeditions?
Well, I was on all 3 ROV cruises, but without, not shakedown or mobilization. So I was on Palmyra and Papahanaumokuakea and
Nice.
Johnson Atoll.
Cool.
Me and Dan, the two of us. Both of us together.
Awesome. Those are beautiful places to go. Was there anything different that you saw at each site that was specific to that site? You know, that you didn't see in any of the other ones?
The geology at Papahanaumokuakea was really, really cool.
Really?
It was really, really beautiful. We saw some columnar basalts that were like in a opposing direction than the geologist would have thought, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
It was just really interesting storytelling through the geology, through the lava flows.
Yeah, like what Rob has been telling us about these flows here in the geology of this space, yeah? How they either build upon each other. The shapes are indicative of flows. And then here's another comment for Kylie. Yeah, Kylie has had some rally ridiculous moments.
Yeah, Raj.
Actually, some of the most memorable as well, LOL, late night madness.
Yeah, I've been really blessed to have just, a lot of good times on the ship.
Well, and that's what makes it memorable too, because you're doing important work out here.
Yeah.
So Emma, what was something that was a favorite that you saw while on this particular dive as a navigator?
As a navigator, well, I like staring at the screens in front of me, and I think that giant shrimp was so cool because it was just huge compared to all the other shrimps we've seen, including the larger ones. So that was cool.
Right
like
on.
when the 10-centimeter lasers were up, it was just so much bigger than that.
Wow. Was that on our watch, the big shrimp?
Yeah, the last one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Was it with the...
It was with the tripod fish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, the tripod fish. That one was cool.
And I think that those, I can't remember what they're called, but the fish that don't really have any fins and they look, or there's an eel. The eels
The
look...
cusk eels?
Yes, the cusk eels. They look so creepy. They're cool.
And that lizard fish, there was a lizard fish that they saw on the second dive after our dive. I mean, not the second watch, after our watch.
Maybe we can get the fish crochet woman to crochet you a custom.
Okay.
I want to see that.
I have seen a crocheted tripod fish.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I know someone who has it in his office.
I need to see a picture of that person who sent in their crocheted animals. Let me see those.
I am so amazed that crochet is so popular nowadays again. Oh, hey, look it, here it is. Images of crocheted tripod fish.
Okay. I think we're good.
Okay.
Oh, how
Kind of very Princess and the Pea, It's like, talking about the winch, sorry.
No, I know. I know.
That little bump down at the bottom translates all the way up.
Yeah, you're right.
Seen some little jellies go by.
Oh, really?
They're cool.
That little jelly that we saw was super cute. It was just really tiny and just had like red.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it had any long tentacles.
I want to see a sea dandelion again.
They were seeing them earlier on this dive. Not on our shift, but yeah.
I want to know more about them also. I think that they're not too well understood. Like,
I believe they're siphonophores, right?
yeah, and they like secrete these like long strings of something. And I don't know if that's completely understood, like why it's doing that, or, if it's, yeah, I'd just love to know more.
This is an image of the shrimp. Dave, how about you? What was something that you thought that stood out to you on this dive?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm into anything I can zoom in closely on and see. I think that last purple
Yeah.
Victor Gorgia was probably a highlight for me because it was so intensely colored. We got a nice close-up. It had brittle stars hanging around in it, other things around it.
Right.
It was just a nice little colony. But the color is what really does it. So
Yeah, thank you.
that'd be the highlight for me.
That was very pretty. Okay. All right, I have another question for the pilots that just came in. So it says here, I noticed last night that the ascent rate slowed down at about the same time that the O2 saturation and concentration levels started rising pretty quickly. Does the O2 levels affect the ascent rate, or is it some other force that slows the ascent rate of Herc and Atlanta?
Whew. That's beyond my, that might be a science question more than a pilot question.
Science?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. There could have been a pilot decision to slow down too, but I don't know there's much that's gonna, I don't think like oxygen levels or things like that are going to impact the ascent rates.
Okay.
It is about the location of the picnic line where the temperatures slowly change rapidly, but I doubt that have much of an effect on the ascent rate other than a pilot decision.
Okay.
It's probably just around the same place where you're getting close enough to the surface for things to change.
To occur, right? Okay. Thank you, you guys. Thank you, everyone.
We actually have lost instruments in the past when you don't take into account the picnic line, because the buoyancy estimation, you send them down to the bottom.
Aloha.
And when you release them, they'd come up and just kind of hit the picnic line. You just hit the picnic line and keep going.
Oh, they don't come all the way to the surface.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
We're going fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is our ascension rate? Do you know, Rob? Oh, so 21 meters per minute.
Yeah.
So we have about 43 minutes before we reach the surface. And our depth right now we're at about 1,700 meters.
You could have saved those weights.
Yeah,
We are at
two of them,
936 meters.
Oh, okay.
We were
it says here
at
the
700.
bottom depth was, I misread. Oh, Argus depth is, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and some of the people are asking about the orientation of the camera to see stuff at the surface or something like that. Is there a preferred one, or is this kind of a safety mode?
For the ship deck cameras?
Well, I mean, the Hercules.
Yeah, it says here you should tilt down the camera on Atlanta so that we can see anything in the water column below it.
Nope.
No, thank you. I keep my tilt up because I'm going to land Atalanta on deck, and I don't want the camera to be interfering with the deck, hit off anything, the transom.
Sure.
So it's like a protective position.
Okay. Thank you, Kylie, for that. And then someone said here, as soon as you hit the thermocline and density change, it always slows down the ascent. It's a known thing Dan often talks about. Okay. Thank you for sharing. So that
I think
helps
that
us.
would be a water density thing, not an
Yeah.
oxygen thing. Yeah.
Oh, so more water density as opposed to oxygen density
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
saturation,
But the
concentration.
water above is less dense than the water below.
Ooh, jelly.
Ooh, there's jelly.
Mm-hmm, there
He's
was,
gone now.
yeah.
Jelly's gone.
Just moonlighting.
So the two beams that we see in the
Joke.
camera right now, that's just the laser beams that we were using along the, okay.
Yep. Those are just the lasers. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm the
Laser
only one that
beams.
laughs at your jokes, Kylie.
What?
Sometimes I'm the only one that laughs at your
I know.
jokes. They're funny.
Tough watch.
Oh, you got one. You got somebody who laughs. Good.
It's
Awesome.
usually roaring in here. My ego needs some inflation.
Really?
God. Yes. Hello. Yeah, I was just telling.
Ladder, just
I'm a Leo. I was just telling K2. I said it's a I have my ego as a check valve. It's like one way in. It deflates when I go home.
Oh.
Oh, no.
It's weird when I go home. I'm like well, I'm kind of like a liquid, where like I take the shape of the container
Yeah.
I'm in. Like I'm really good at doing this job because I'm here. I'm doing it right.
Mhm.
And I go home and I don't have like structure or like obligation. So I'm just like a pool of water. I'm like I don't know what to do with myself.
Just like lay around, like go where the wind takes you.
Yeah, it's very that. Yeah.
Are those more hockey pucks that I'm seeing in the winch view?
No, those are just some washers on a string. Because one time somebody thought that the winch was frozen. It wasn't moving. And it just turns out the camera feed was frozen. So they put those down there to like, make sure they knew that it was working.
Brilliant.
Yes.
What's the name of that meter?
Washer meter.
Okay.
Washometer, excuse me.
Washometer.
Quite an ingenious solution, I think.
Low-tech solutions
By the
to
way.
high-tech problems.
That's right.
Exactly. Very
Saves
good.
money.
Thank you,
Those
Emma.
washers that they're looking at.
But it took them a week to figure out how many
Whoa.
washers to use.
Oh, what is that?
Little
Yeah.
shrimp.
Oh,
Oh,
my
no,
God,
it's sorry,
he's
it's a
staying with
copepod.
us.
It's a copepod. You can see the two big antenna.
Hi, shrimp.
I saw that, Hoku. I just read
you.
that. Oh, that's not it.
Okay, yeah, it does make sense that you slow down at the picnic line. The buoyancy contrast changes.
Whoa.
Oh,
So when you're deeper,
What is
that
that?
makes sense.
looks like something that got shredded by the thrusters.
Oh. Yikes.
Oh.
No.
Looks like it was a jelly. Wait, so if you're going across the picnic line, it's becoming less dense.
Well, below the picnic line, the buoyancy difference is greater because it's more dense in the water.
Right.
But-
Oh, so you're going to go up faster.
Yeah, but then once you get across the picnic line, it's less dense above it. And so the density contrast is less, so you have less of an ascent.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How deep is that
The
border?
picnic line?
I
Yeah.
think it's about 400 meters or so.
Okay.
Right here, it's about 820 meters because they just slowed down 3 meters per minute.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we in it then already?
There
or
might
are
be
we
a couple
getting
of them then.
closer?
That's cool.
Because it looks like oxygen is still dropping.
You know, you see the, look at the temperature
Oh,
salinity.
look at that.
Conductivity is still increasing.
Look at the salinity, though. That,
Yeah. Or salinity is
Yeah.
decreasing.
what about temperature was that at? It's going up.
Looks like we crossed some threshold around. Oh no, that's just when we left the bottom. Never mind. Is there a way to get a view of it that's like all of these on one?
I think they do it in in a profile.
Yeah, like a nice
I
profile.
think they do a post-processing one.
Okay, but
There's one
not.
to
There's no
post-process
way
now.
to do it on this interface.
Yeah.
In Grafana, I think. Are you talking about CTD data and stuff?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like a standard CTD profile, because we have
Yeah.
all that data. It's just presented.
Are you looking at the Grafana
Yeah.
selections? Somewhere in there, in one of those jillion like selections.
Okay, I'll
There's
take a look.
something, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, just scroll through and try and find like one of the outputs. There should be a graph there that'll show you the.
I have a few more questions for the pilots when you folks are ready.
Fire away.
So what is the precaution when the pilot sees a fishing line on the dive track? What part of the ROV might get tangled? Is it the tether or the thruster?
If we see a fishing line gets entangled in the RV?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just have to react to the situation. It can get anywhere, sure. Thrusters around. I've seen all kinds of lines and stuff fishing gear get caught up in ROVs and stuff, so.
Does it prevent you from, like if you're ascending it, like if it got caught in the ascent, would it?
Yeah, it could be a real problem for sure.
Oh.
Depending how much weight's on the line or what's at the end of it and whatnot. But we carry knives on board and I've actually been involved in one where I had to cut the ROV free or just grab a knife and start cutting through lines just to free the ROV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you able to recover the ROV later or was?
Yep. Yeah, we were able to cut free and then recover, and then we just inspect the ROV for some further damage and things like that. Things in the thrusters.
How often is that a problem?
It's pretty rare. It's happened, just depends where you are too. I mean, if you're obviously diving an ROV in a heavy fishing ground, you can expect to see a lot more fishing gear. But out here, I mean, obviously in the monument there, you're not going to expect to see anything.
And then we just have an overall general comment. Thank you, y'all are awesome. Yeah. Oh, sure, right here. I kind of moved it away because I thought my voice was too loud. Oh, okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, great, thank you.
So what is all like the little debris that we see going across, the little specks?
It's detritus, marine snow. Some of it's going to be zooplankton, but for the most part it's just sinking particles of dead organic matter.
Rich with eDNA.
Yeah.
Yummy food.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the stuff what we've been looking at eats down there.
Have you guys been able to run any eDNA samples? Have you been doing that at all?
So they get filtered on board, but then the actual analysis will be on land.
Oh, cool. That'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a CTD, but it's just CTD salinity, but I don't get the...
Yeah, I just want a vertical profile.
And so this is another question for everyone, so feel free to answer. Where's your most favorite place to watch the sunset?
On a boat.
From my cabin.
On a beach.
On a beach.
Maybe from the top deck of Nautilus.
That's a beautiful spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yvonne?
Same, actually.
On the top deck?
Top deck, yeah.
Yep. Robin, Liz?
Yeah, I'd concur. Monkey deck. It's nice.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I saw a beautiful moonset and sunrise this morning.
Oh.
It was amazing, and I was trying to figure, I was like, what is happening here? But it seemed like the moon and the sun were incredibly close to each other. like as the sun was rising, the moon was sitting just a little bit above it. So I could only see it through the clouds, just sparsely. But it was a beautiful
Cool.
sunrise this morning.
The clouds make sunrises better, I think.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
The clouds were amazing this morning too.
Makes it tough to see the green flash, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet.
I want to
That's
see
true,
it so
huh?
badly.
You will.
Oh, I forgot about it. I've lived on the east side of Hawaii Island for so long, I forget to look at the sunset. I always see it rise. When the lava was flowing, though, I was fooled at one point driving home because I thought it was a sunset.
Oh, that's
Oh,
And
no.
it was just the, you know, the sky was lit up red, like
Wow.
fiery
That
red
is so cool.
from the flows that you were showing me, Dave. Yeah, it was amazing. That lasted for months.
Oh, wow. Is there still a place
There's
where
a
it
fish.
pours into the ocean?
I don't know,
I don't think
probably.
there's anything right now, right?
There's no activeness
Mm.
going on, but Kilauea is always moving and shaking. I feel like there's something, we're always watching that area. But Hualalai is the big question. When will that one erupt?
Where is that
That's-
one?
So we have Mauna Kea, then there's Mauna Loa, and then right on the other side of Mauna Loa is Hualalai, which is the mountain closest connected to Kona.
Okay.
And it hasn't erupted in over 30 years. So I guess they say it's due. Rob, do you know anything about that? I don't know.
I'm not sure about that one.
Right? That's the hum, but we'll see. Okay.
Looks like we've reached the oxygen minimum and it's kind of flattening out now, or maybe starting to increase.
Where are you looking at this?
At about 700
this
meters.
one?
Let's go.
This graph?
Right there.
That would be the min right there. Cool.
If I go back.
Wow.
This is where we were. That's a minimum on the way down.
Oh. And then now we're kind of, so we're a little bit close to that min. Neat. Yeah, and our vertical velocity kind of slowed to 17 meters from 21. So it looks like we've got about 36 more minutes till we reach the surface of the ocean, or the, of the ocean. So I'll ask another question here. What languages would you really want to learn and why? Anybody?
I would
I
want to
mean-
learn Spanish because it seems so useful.
Spanish is a good one. Spanish helped me learn Hawaiian.
I was going to say I'd like to learn a little more Hawaiian.
Yeah, huh?
I just know a couple of words and phrases here and there, but I'd like to learn more.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, you're going to tutor me?
Yeah.
Then
And-
sign me up. We
All
should
right.
do it.
Yeah, we'll have Olelo Hawaii classes.
That'll be
Sounds great.
Kukui's gonna run them.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any languages you folks would really want to learn? I've been really wanting to learn Filipino.
That's a good one.
I think C++ would be a nice one.
Wow.
I'd like to learn Java.
Which Filipino language? There's so many.
Right, I know. And that, yeah, my son is
Chile.
yeah, and his girlfriend's mother comes from a certain part of the Philippines, and so I would probably go to her to just learn it and understand it. I really want to understand like their, yeah, just all about it. Even the script, how they write, you know, all of the Asian languages and the caricatures and how what that tells us. How about you, Ivan? What languages do you know? And what would you like to learn?
Yeah, I speak Czech, Slovak, Portuguese, Spanish, and English.
Unreal.
Oh.
And I would love to learn Polish because
Really?
my grandfather's, he was from
Polish.
Poland, so yeah.
Nice. German is another one I'd like to
Mm.
learn because I'm German, you know, so I wanted to learn all of the languages that makes up our family, right? And Norwegian, we've got some Norwegian in there. That'd be cool. Anyone else?
Oh, looks like we shredded something else.
Hey. Is Puerto Rican similar to like Spanish or Portuguese? Do they have kind of similar sentence structures, like dialects?
Oh, Spanish and
Vocab?
Portuguese, yeah, there's some commonalities.
And then with Puerto Rican too, or no?
No, our Spanish in Puerto Rico is, it's something that I don't want to even talk about it.
Okay, we won't.
No, I actually like it. It's an enjoyable Spanish, but it's not the most correct of Spanish.
Oh, okay.
I think that for the most part, all these different varieties of Spanish that you hear is just some mainly differences in accentuation, like in pronunciation differences, but a few words here and there. But we throw in a lot of English words in our Spanish, and we turn them into Spanish. Like
I see.
Let me give you an example. Surf. We say surfear.
Yeah.
We turned the word surf into a word that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Surfear.
Yeah.
We added an E, A, and an R at the end and turned it into a non-existent word.
Right. So
that only exists in Puerto Rico.
Oh, funny. Yeah, that's what we do in Hawaiian with some words like computer. It's just kame pula, based on the sound of computer, right? We just say, or video is vikio. Yeah. So just some words will make, newer words will adapt to the sound of the original word. Cool.
I think I'd also like to get better at Spanish. Living in Arizona, it seems like. So
Oh, yeah.
I used to learn it and be pretty good at it, but then I spent 3 years not practicing it at all, and I've lost it. So it'd be cool to get that skill back.
I agree with you. I that was the second language I learned, and I don't know if that just made sense, but yeah. So when I moved to Hawaii, there weren't a lot of. I didn't run across many Spanish-speaking people, so I learned Hawaiian, which my Spanish helped. But then I started speaking Spawaiian, I say, because what I didn't know in one of the other languages, I just kind of blend it together. But I was
definitely knowing a little bit of Spanish, I feel like helps with Hawaiian pronunciation a lot.
It does, and even sentence structure and understanding.
The vowels are pretty much pronounced the same way.
A, E, I, O,
Wow.
U. El burro sabe más que tú.
That's the only Spanish I know too.
But it did, it helped a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
So I took Spanish in school, so at least that, I'm not
Yeah.
very good at it, but.
So I bet when you learn Hawaiian, you'll pick up on you'll start to identify, because it's really just identifying all the structures, just like any language.
We're seeing a few more fish at this depth.
Ooh.
Starting to notice, mostly little ones, but if you
Okay.
watch, you'll occasionally see one. They're very silvery, a lot of them.
So we do have a question coming in. Oh, we've got a few comments and a question here. So our first question, and this is for anyone who would like to answer. Are there any boobies or other species of seabird on the ship at the moment?
I think Yvonne should
Yeah, I
answer
think that's
that. It's our bird expert.
Yeah, today we've seen just red-footed boobies and a brown booby, a very mean brown booby that's very territorial, that doesn't like to have any of the other red-footed boobies near it. So
Yeah, I saw that one yesterday. They weren't
yeah,
being
it was
very
there
nice.
today again. And
Really?
it's just a little slight indifference in size and a little longer beak. That's all it takes for them to be bullies.
Yeah.
But
He was really a bully.
yeah, but these red-footed boobies, they know better. They actually were able to flush the brown booby off finally. And victory in the numbers, strength in numbers, yeah.
Yeah, those guys they've been the birds have been with us this whole trip, huh?
Yeah. Soon we should be seeing some. If we get closer to Johnson, we should see some masked boobies and also maybe sooty terns also.
Are
We'll
those
see.
the most common birds in this area? Like you were mentioning, we
Yeah,
wouldn't
sooty
see the
terns.
albatross as much over here, or would we?
We wouldn't. It's accidental. If there's an albatross around here, it would be very uncommon.
Okay.
But we should be seeing some sooty terns and